Hello everyone, this is Anil Kumar. In the last video, we have seen the database connectivity. It is a normal database connectivity where we have a driver manager connection, prepared statement, and everything stuff. Now slowly we will convert this particular application to Spring JDBC. So in order to do that, whatever earlier we have done to convert any normal Maven application to the Spring, we need to add the related jar files, right? So the dependencies that we need to add here is uh, Spring core and Spring context. That itself will provide the necessary um, jar files for the connectivity of database also. So I have already downloaded some of the configuration in the Spring form.xml. The only thing, the the Spring related Spring JDBC and Spring context, those are the two things that is necessary to actually configure the database. So I'm just adding those dependencies. One is Spring JDBC and Spring context. So here we can use the version as well in the properties. The version I am using here is 4 point Spring 4.1.6. I think we can use any version. So it would build, the Maven would build the necessary jar files. It actually download the necessary jar files for Spring Beans, Spring Core, Spring JDBC, and Spring Context and Spring Transaction Management. If you add to these two dependencies, let me. This is not a Derby. This is only Spring JDBC. The Derby one would be on the bottom actually. So let's separate it out. So what I have done, I have updated the pom.xml with the couple of dependencies like Spring JDBC and Spring context. The next thing that the configuration that we need to do is open src main java com.java.spring.demo. Here we will create another folder, src main java. There is another folder for resources. We need to create a configuration file. So the configuration file that I am going to create here is the Spring configuration file. So let me create a XML. I will name it as XML file. I will name it as, it is a very much similar configuration what we have seen in the Spring Core and Spring MVC. I am name it as anything we can name it, Spring hyphen JDBC, JDBC hyphen XML. So for this XML, the configuration file, I think you can download the sample Spring JDBC XML. I have already downloaded Spring similar to the configuration file. Let me explain what I am configuring here. So for time being, I am just commenting out. I will explain later. The only thing that we need to do here is in this configuration file, we need to make sure the necessary XSDs are in place. Okay, Spring MVC. I think MVC is not needed, but I think we need to make sure like these things would be configured properly. We need to have a component scan tag so that it will identify all the beans which are existing in our package. And there is a annotation config context tag which supports for the annotation. And we have a data source bean. The bean which we need to create is a data source which is of type Spring JDBC driver manager data source. I think we have a multiple implementations of this particular data source. We have a DBCP data source and some other data sources also. I have chosen this driver manager data source for our tutorial. So we need to provide the driver class and a URL. So what we are doing here is to explain further. We need to just place. We are trying to avoid the code, and this stuff we are moving to the configuration file. So configuration, we have done the driver class and URL. The only thing we will do here is we will just take that data source. So let me create one file. uh, I'm creating a Java class to do the kind of connectivity which is very much similar to the Spring JDBC. So I'm creating a class. I'm creating a Java class which is a DAO class, because all our database stuff should go to login DAO. So all the database related code should go to DAO. DAO, it is a name of the class only, but we need to make sure uh, like I'm the necessary data source should be injected in this particular DAO. How we can inject, we will see. But I'm trying to just write one insert database query where it would make use of a Spring JDBC template and insert into the database. Uh, I'm writing the method called void insert uh, insert app user data, something, some name, anything you can name it. This DAO method, what it actually do is it will take the it will connect it to the database and insert into the database. uh, I will Spring. I will ask Spring to provide the JDBC template. The class that I'm using is I think the what is the class name? JDBC template. Uh, I think what is the JDBC? I think it is not coming, because we need to see what is the respective JDBC template. So org Spring JDBC, it would have the JDBC necessary JDBC template related classes where we need to inject. So in order to do that JDBC template, this is the class where uh, we have the JDBC template, JDBC equal to new JDBC template. So if you go to the Spring JDBC, it would look for data source injection, and it would connect to the database with this particular client driver and the URL. But in order to, this data source has to be injected to our login DAO class to make sure it becomes a DAO class. So what is meant by DAO class? We are actually injecting a property called data source with the reference bean of data source, in order to make sure this login DAO becomes a database related class. And also another step that we need to do is we need to auto wire this data source. uh, data source. By doing this, we are actually referring this date. I think we need to import this data source. What is, I think, data source name is different, I think. So uh, data source. So we need to import this data source and make setters and getters, java.sql.data source. So we need to create a setters and getters for this particular method. How to do that? Go to the source, generate getters and setters methods here. so that it would be injected. I'm just moving this particular method to clearly visible to the screen. So now this particular class become a data source, and we need to auto wire. I think we have. If you don't know about auto wire, you can refer to my earlier video. Um, how we can auto wire, refer one class to the another class. I think Eclipse is not responding. Yeah, it has been become an auto wire. And let me print this JDBC template. How? Probably what I will do is I will just comment it out all this particular code. I will just comment this particular code. I will make sure this particular login DAO is just executing, print able to get the template or not. I am just printing it. Uh, let me run this application from app.java. Login DAO equal to new login DAO. This is for a kind of illustration purpose. DAO dot insert app data. Let me run this application whether to just to get the context. So now we are able to get the context. So what we have done, it is a simple. I updated the pom.xml to have the necessary Spring JDBC related dependencies, and another stuff I have created a Spring JDBC XML configuration file where I configured the data source. I haven't done anything much. I just given a driver class name and URL. I moved these things which are there in our JDBC code to this configuration file, and just I created a one simple bean that named as a login DAO, and I injected this property setter to the data source to the login DAO to make it convert to a DAO class. And in the login DAO, I just taken the context of JDBC template. Now we will write insert code with using JDBC template to insert some database using Spring JDBC. So that we will see in the next tutorial. Thanks for watching this video. If you like it, please click on the like button and do subscribe to my channel. Thanks a lot.